Hello, my lovelies. Welcome back to Story Time with the Intimacy Ally. It's me, Jeni Simas, the Intimacy Ally. I want to talk a little about life right quick. I am in school to get my master's in social work, and it's a self-led, you don't have that much interaction with a real person. Um, Online master's program, right? And it is kicking my ass like hard. And so doing work, being a mom, being a partner, walking the dog, running a business, making sure I get all the good info out to you lovely, lovely people. Oh my God. It has just piled and piled on since I started this program, and I only started it last November, for fuck's sake. Um, and then yesterday, I couldn't get into the online classes. I couldn't get in to read my books or look up journal entries, and, my assignments are all due on Sunday, and I was just really, really overwhelmed, and apparently their server was down for several hours. And I was so fucking stressed out. I can't remember the last time that I was that stressed out. I've had a lot of turmoil and a lot of things happen in my life. Both my parents are gone. Anyone who was like a sub for my parents, they're gone. Um, you know, Family strife, the whole divorce thing. Um, Raising a kid with special needs that's it's intensive special needs. He can't communicate with me a lot of his needs. Yeah, it all just kind of caught up yesterday, and that got me to thinking that we need to talk a little bit about women and stress management. Um so I did a little looking around on the internet and found this one article on Psychology Today by Andrew Bernstein. I know it's by a dude, but guess what? He's a thoughtful dude who's in the psychological world, so hopefully it's not that cruddy, right? Um, Now he has 8 deadly myths about stress, and I'm just going to give you a few of them and my kind of take on them. He says stress comes from your circumstances, and that that is a good myth, I think. If we're talking stress management for women myths. Um, and I think it actually comes from, your thoughts and your emotions. And if you want to know more about how your actions come from your thoughts and your emotions and not necessarily from your circumstances or from the people around you, highly recommend listening to Unfuck Your Brain with Cara Lowenthal, because she's got a lot of information on this, and she's been trying to change people's minds with feminist thought work for I think 6-7 years now since she left academia. Totally recommend that one. All right, so what's another one? Stress is a motivator. Back to Andrew. He says it might be stimulating, but it's still detrimental. And I totally agree there. It's like if you have a term paper due and it's getting to deadline time and it's down to the wire, and you know that you have to get it done. Yeah, that's really stimulating, but that's not helpful. And sorry that I'm all, I don't know, spring has sprung, I guess, and my allergies to the world are apparently popping through. Another one that he has on there is that some stress is good for you. Eh, I don't get that. Like, I feel like if you could be in a state where you weren't experiencing stress, you would probably prefer that to having some stress, right? Stress is a choice. uh, I I wanna slap people who say that. Um, Stress is inevitable, that we're all going to experience stress, and you know what? To some degree, that's true. There will be stressors that hit in your life, and you are going to have some kind of repertoire of building a resilience skill pack, right? Um, a little toolbox for learning resilience, because resilience is not something we're actually born with. It's something that we learn, and it's a muscle that we grow. Um, but yeah, saying that stress is inevitable, that doesn't really fucking help anything. Um, oh, and here's my fave. The best way to deal with stress is to exercise, breathe, and relax. Yeah. So, what is the opposite of being stressed? Being relaxed, right? So, the advice is don't be this way, be the opposite of this way. Because that gets people far, right? Um, so, then just to narrow this down a little bit, I looked up women and stress and came across an article from the Cleveland Clinic called, you guessed it, Women and Stress. Symptoms is what we're talking about here. And symptoms can include, for physical, headache, upset stomach, less interest in sex, emotional, anxiety, depression, mood swings, mental forgetfulness, worry, lack of focus, occupational. You might have work overload, or you're constantly feeling like under the gun of like every deadline. Social, less intimacy, experiencing isolation, and spiritual, apathy and loss of meaning. That's all I really took from that article, because that's all I really was looking for there. I didn't really thumb through their suggestions. I went to Very Well Mind for that. So, on Very Well Mind, they have a shit ton, like a grab bag of suggestions, right? I'm going to read them to you. Some effective strategies are, and I will put links to these 3 articles. Actually, there's going to end up being 5 things, but I will put the links in the show notes. Very Well Mind says some effective strategies are guided imagery, meditation, progressive muscle relaxation, deep breathing, going for a walk, hugs, aromatherapy, creativity, healthy diet, stress relief supplements. I mean, this is sounding like a lot of fucking work already, right? And I'm not even halfway through the list. Uh, Leisure activities, positive self talk. That one I do actually totally cosign. Um, yoga. Yoga pisses me the fuck off. I wish it didn't. Like, I know a lot of people who like really get down with it, but um it's part of a religious practice, and it just bugs the shit out of me how much we have appropriated that shit. Um, we can talk about that another time. Gratitude, that's another one that bugs me a bit, and we will talk about that very soon. Exercise, again with the fucking exercise. Evaluating priorities, social support, and my all-time fave, eliminating stressors. So, yeah, again, how do you deal with stress? Just get rid of it. Just get rid of the things that are making it happen. What if those things are your child? What if those things are your own diagnoses? What if those things are that you have to work in order to live? Like, you can't just eliminate stressors. Why the fuck is that on this list? It drives me bananas. Um so for women, I think that that is ultimately a thing that we need to discuss, is that the stressors are going to be there, whether or not you have a good plan of attack to deal with them, right? Um, And I'm not saying that men do not have stressors. I'm saying the people that I'm talking to right now are women. Okay? So I had some angry men. I had some very angry men this week who were very upset that I couldn't like hop to and be ready to basically give them online fucking sex work uh the first like initial call that we ever had. Um so I've actually just revamped my website and decided to tell everyone that I don't work one to one with men right now. I don't, because they've kind of lost their minds, um, thinking that sex coaching or relationship coaching is something that it's not. And when you try to call them out on it, they get real attacky and nasty. And guess what? I don't need that stress in my life. So, anywho, back to this. Um, so I am speaking to women, probably women who want to listen to me. Most likely they're a little older. Maybe they got kids too. Here we go. I am going to tell you my biggest secret to not letting stress get the best of me, because it fucking used to. Okay. I used to be so horribly stressed out. I existed in my limbic system. I was a constant producer of cortisol. I could not understand how to not be stressed out. And it was part of the way that I functioned. Like I was totally that stress is a motivator person, right? And I allowed it to be part of my persona for a long time. And it was actually anxiety coming out of me. It was actually dissatisfaction with my life coming out in me through this constant being tight and squeezed in, stress ball of a fucking person, right? So people say, all right, so we have this list, right? Stress is a choice. Okay. I don't believe that the stress is a choice. I do believe that the way that we choose to react to it is a choice. And I do think about Lao Tzu at times like this. Like, are you going to be the water that flows around the rock, or are you going to be the water that breaks against it? And there's a little bit of surrendering, not submitting. That's different. But a little bit of surrendering that needs to happen in order to not feel like that heightened stress level is where you need to exist. Now, I'm going to let you in on the secret, and I don't know if that means that you'll never sign up to work with me or whatever, but if it does, and you take my advice and you go and you have a better life and you're a lot less stressed out, well, then I will have done what I've been put here to do. My stress relief rituals and routines were found after I had my sex educator education. Sorry, not educator, sex coaching education through the Sexual Health Alliance, SHA. And I'll also put a link that you can find them. And they introduced me to Dr. Lori Mintz and her book, Becoming Clitorate, which is about closing the pleasure gap. So, what's a pleasure gap? Anyone? Anyone? Basically, it is the difference in how many or how often penis havers have orgasms and vagina havers have orgasms, right? guess I should say clitoris havers, because I'm not all that pumped on the vagina being the route to orgasm. Like, I'm just not. I know that there are people who can do it. I have not experienced that. Clitoral stimulation is a thing that needs to fucking happen. So, anywho, let's get back to Lori. So, Dr. Lori Mintz, she talks about in her book one study examining 800 college students. 39% of women and 91% of men said they orgasmed during partnered sex. That's the fucking pleasure gap. Those numbers. 91% of men, 39% of women. And when they did another study of 15,000 college students, the numbers only got farther apart when it was talking about hookup sex. So drink that in a minute. Other parts of this, because I'm getting to my secret here, but other parts of this are women alone and lesbians have more orgasms than partnered heterosexual women. Why is that? How could that be? Oh, right, because there's no penetration and there's no dick involved. Right, because our bodies are designed to have clitoral and vulvar stimulation make us come, right? Right. So, all right. So now let's wheel it back. Let's wheel it back to stress management. We're going to talk about orgasm, stress relief, facts for women. So, Self Magazine, they have a story, and they go over 5 reasons why orgasms are great for your health as a woman. Yay! So, first one, orgasms keep your equipment healthy. All right. 2, they offer powerful pain relief. Now, all these things about stressors and all these things to do for them, I didn't see anything about the stress that chronic health issues or that chronic pain can cause you, or even the things that you have to take to treat those can eventually cause you. Think about how cool it is that you could just manipulate a part of your body that is nowhere near, perhaps, because I'm not sure where your pain is, but most likely not, like your lower back is a big spot, legs, feet, arms, back, neck, whatever. You could manipulate a part of your body that could send signals to other parts of your body to just feel better and release some of the pain and tension. Let's see. Another great thing about orgasms, they protect your heart. Another one is they can help you sleep better. Now, this one, it doesn't count so much for my purposes here because I'm actually pushing for orgasms alone. But if you are having them during partnered sex, you can burn a bunch of calories. The biggest one here is the release of oxytocin, the feel-good hormone. And that and listening to Lori Mintz is what got me on this mission to have an O a day. Like, take your fucking vitamin O. Oh my God. I'm going to make that a t-shirt soon. Got to write that shit down. But to be honest, I literally am writing that down. To be honest, I want you to understand that when I went on this mission to have an O a day, like, I didn't know what it was going to look like, and I didn't really know whether it was going to help. I don't think I would have gotten through the last few months of being in a master's program, taking care of a kid with severe autism who's now getting taller than me, and who is now entering into puberty, nonverbal puberty, a daughter who's got her own stuff going on, dog, significant other, house, still working, still doing all these other things, and then doing the fucking grad school online self-led shit. Oh my God. Yeah. None of that would have been possible if I hadn't come up with something that could easily and quickly deal with my stress. And I don't know about y'all, but with the proper tools and the proper visuals, so Betty Dodson's magic wand and the porn that I feel like watching that day, I can get that shit done in like less than 60 seconds. I can produce an orgasm for myself super duper fast. And I believe that you can too. If you haven't had one ever, if you are not having them regularly, if you're not having them by yourself, or if you're just not understanding that this could be a really great thing for your stress levels, for your cortisol levels, for your heart, for your general fucking well-being. If you're at all confused about how to have it happen, get this book. Get Lori Mintz's book, Becoming Clitorate. She has a whole chapter in there where she walks you through how to do it. I think it's so important. I think that there's this kind of understood guilt, this understood inner guilt that we have to be stressed out or we're not being really good working moms or stay-at-home moms or any kind of moms or any kind of women. Like if we are not in some kind of stress, then and I don't think it has to be that way. But I also don't think it's just as easy as exercise, breathe, relax, eliminate stress. I feel like those are unattainable. And I'm not saying like you can't exercise and feel better. I just think that it's one of those things where they tell you to exercise or breathe or relax, and those things might actually cause you different stress when you're trying to get rid of the stress. Masturbation is like where it's at. And being able to give your body a rush of the feel-good hormone, oxytocin, without having to involve another person, because there are ways that you can increase your oxytocin. Listen to the episode with Michelle Renee or Jasmine. They're both cuddlists, and they both talk about how, hugs and cuddling, positive touch therapy can help with that. But if you're not in a position to do that, why not give it to yourself? I mean, this could be the greatest gift. And I honestly don't know how I would have survived the last several months without challenging myself to come up with a way that is easy, that is accessible, and that I can do in under 5 minutes, and the effects will last me for the day. So that's my thought on it. Those are my stress management myths for women, and I guess my call for everyone to take their daily dose of vitamin O. I am still accepting signups for Making Online Dating Magical. You can find information for that in the link tree on my Instagram. That is at the Intimacy Ally on Instagram. And you can also go to my website and just look and click at Dating Magical, I believe is what it says, and click on that and it'll take you to the submission form. I hope you all have a lovely week, And I hope you come back next week to listen to a little more story time with the Intimacy Ally. And I'm just going to raise these up because this is where we say fuck no to the status quo.